Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. This week I have been researching dogs sleeping, how they sleep, how long they sleep for, what happens when they sleep, what happens if they don't sleep, all sorts of things. And I found out some really quite interesting things. I'm just going to finish walking my dogs now, and then when we get back, I will just tell you what I've researched and what I found out this week. Right, so they've had their walk, so they are now all nice and snoozy and sleepy. What I found out from researching was, which I don't know why this was any surprise to me because it shouldn't have been, but sleep is incredibly important to dogs. They grow when they're sleeping, it improves their memory, it makes their immune system stronger, just the same as it does for us. Sleep does so much. I was surprised to find out that they go into a REM sleep the same that we do. So when they first settle down to go to sleep, for 10 minutes they're in a light sleep. In that light sleep, they can be easily woken up. Their eyes might open now and again, but they're very, very dozy. That lasts for about 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, they go into REM sleep, and that lasts about 20 minutes. And in REM sleep, they that's when sometimes dogs will twitch. Their breathing is a lot deeper. It's really hard to wake them up from REM sleep, and that is why, the saying "let sleeping dogs lie," and how children get bitten most by dogs when a child goes to wake a dog up. This generally happens when the dog is in REM sleep or deep sleep, because they're so deep asleep it's hard to wake them up. So if the child has managed to wake them up, then they've really done, they've really tried to wake them up. And that is when most children get bitten by dogs, when they wake them up from that point. This is when they do dreaming, and a lot of dogs will run in their sleep, and that's when that happens. I did a whole video about dogs howling in their sleep. I did a load of research on that. This was a while ago now. I'll put that up at the end because that's really interesting. They sometimes will bark in their sleep. It's really important when they're in their sleep to not disturb them. And I've really made a point of this with us, especially with Humps, because he likes to always be with you, and so he'll often be asleep wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So I just make a point now, if he's, because I sit in this spot here most of when I'm working, and this is where he lies, and so I'm just making more of a point to be aware that if he's in a deep sleep, to be more aware that don't just suddenly get up, but to sort of move about first, and to make sure that he knows that I'm moving about. So I've spent a lot of time watching them sleep this week, trying to work out if they're in light sleep or if they're in dark sleep, in deep sleep. So that has been quite interesting, I think. I've really been watching them. The other thing I found out, which I was surprised about, and I really don't know why, is that they have melatonin and a circadian rhythm exactly the same as we do. So if you don't know, circadian rhythm is something that we have, and it's basically just your natural timer for when you need to be awake and when you need to be asleep. And melatonin is the chemical that your body produces, your brain produces it to sleep. So if you don't have melatonin, you can't sleep. You have to have melatonin to sleep. And with us, when you see light, that turns down your melatonin, and when it's dark, it turns it up. And that's why they say you should never have bright lights on in your house before you go to bed, because you need to turn your melatonin up and you'll be turning it down. I'm quite honestly, frankly, obsessed with my own sleep. I put so much effort into making sure that I get a really, really good sleep, because I feel so bad if I don't. So for years, I've been researching my own sleep. So I was really surprised when I found out that actually dogs sleep the same. And I don't know what, I think the reason that didn't think they had melatonin and circadian rhythm and everything was because they sleep so much during the day that I didn't think it was the same as us. But it is, and I've researched it, and it is the same. So dogs do need dark for their melatonin to go up, for them to sleep at night. And the other thing I found was that they sleep for 80% of the night and 37% of the day. Now, I know for a fact that if dogs get older, that changes. I'm pretty sure my dogs sleep all through the night. I'm not saying they don't wake up, and they do move, because they move and they do wake up. but pretty much they're out for the night, and they definitely sleep more than 37% during the day. So they must be statistics for a very average dog, middle-aged dog, a very average dog. Puppies definitely sleep more than that. Puppies sleep a whole lot more than 37% of the day. So that was that. Sorry, bear with me. I just have to keep looking at my notes to make sure that I'm remembering to tell you everything I found out. Right, let me talk to you about the positions that dogs sleep in, because this really tells you a lot about what kind of sleep they're in. Instinctively, just from many years of having dogs, I kind of knew this stuff. None of it was a surprise to me. But if you're new to dogs, this could be really quite interesting in helping you to understand how deeply your dog is asleep. Let's just do have a little look now. I think Albert over there is possibly in deep REM sleep now. I don't think Humps is. Oh, I don't know. He might have just actually no. I think he has gone into deep sleep. Maybe not. His eyes are opening a bit. Pickle boy. No, I don't think he's in deep sleep. I think he's in light sleep. The other thing that I found interesting was so dogs go into light sleep, then deep sleep, then light sleep, then deep sleep. We do the same, but it takes us an hour and a half to go through that routine of light sleep and dark and deep sleep. I keep saying dark sleep, I mean deep sleep. So it takes us an hour and a half to go through this cycle: light sleep, deep sleep, back into light sleep. An hour and a half. But dogs only takes between 20 and 30 minutes. So they go light sleep for 10 minutes, and then 10 to 20 minutes into deep sleep, then back into light sleep. And it takes about half an hour. And that's why it seems that dogs nap so much, because they are basically napping for like 20 to 30 minutes. It's also why dogs have to nap so much during the day, because with the hour and a half, that gives us a chance to really get in deep into it and get all the necessary stuff that we need from sleep. But with dogs, because it only is 20 to 30 minutes, they need to do it more often, and that's why they sleep so much during the day as well. Well, let me talk to you about the positions. So now, some of these positions I've pictured my dogs during the week, and I will put the videos in, slot them in for you in a minute. So let's start with the first one. So first one is where they lie on their belly, but their paws are in a position. Now, they might look like they're deeply asleep, but they actually are not, and they could spring into action at any minute. I'm going to put a video slot now of Humps. I caught him in the garden doing this. Let me put this in now. So you saw there how he was in a position where he could have just sprung up off his paws at any moment. Now a side position, which I think Albert is pretty much on over there. And again, and if you look at Harry here, he's on that side position. And I'm pretty sure he's in deep sleep now. And he's on that really relaxed state, a really deep relaxed state. And again, I'm going to put a clip in here. It's Humps again that I caught. And if you look at him, he's lying on his side and he's really deep breathing and really deeply asleep. So I'll pop that in now. So you could see there he was deeply asleep. And even with me pottering around, he wasn't waking up. The next position is curled up, which I've got Albert. I saw Albert doing that today. Curled up, and this generally means that they're a bit cold, and I completely agree with that. If my boys are a bit nippy, they'll go into a curled up position. Especially with Pickle here, I talk about it a lot, but he really feels the cold. So if I see him doing that, I'll just pop his blanket on top of him. So let me pop that in now. So you saw little Albert there. I think he was a little bit nippy because he was right in line with the door and it was open. I think he was a bit nippy. Now, another one that I haven't actually managed to get this week, but I do see often, especially with Harry here, he's the main one, lying completely on his back, legs wide open, looks like the most awkward position, right on his back, tummy completely exposed, and that is just a completely trusting position. That isn't necessarily always at the deeper sleep, because sometimes he'll be doing it and his eyes are open, he's watching you, but that is really trusting. So completely on their back, belly really exposed, so that's really trusting. Right, so something I did want to talk about. Oh yeah, they did research. I found a scientific paper that Harvard University had done. Their research they'd done, and they put what do you call it? You know, those when you put what do you call them? You know, when they I can't think what they're called. Stopping the video isn't going to make this any easier. I don't know what they're called. They put things on the brain so they can see what activity the brain is doing. And they did that, and they saw the same reaction that they saw when their owners walked into the room. So they're quite confident that dogs actually dream about us, which I thought was quite lovely. If your dog isn't sleeping day or night, and I come across this a lot. Only the other day I was helping somebody whose dog was not sleeping during the day. It was just driving him nuts, and this dog was old, so there was no real reason for it. I think what's the best advice that I would give anybody after all my years of dog ownership is have a routine, a very strict routine. And sometimes at the weekend our routine will change because we'll take them out somewhere different or people come around or whatever. But during the week, and as much as I can at the weekend, it's the same routine. And they know exactly when to sleep. And the good thing about that is that not only do they know when it's time to sleep, but their body wants to. So like now we've got back from our walk. So this morning they've had their breakfast, we've had a walk, they got back, I brushed them, and now they come and settle down and sleep while I do my work. So their body wants to sleep and they want to sleep. So I think it's vital to have a routine where the dog knows what time to go to sleep. And I go to bed the same time every night, and I do that for me because it makes sure that I sleep well. So they know the same time every night to go to sleep. I think routine is so important. The other thing is that to get a dog to sleep, you've got to make sure that you've exercised him. You've got to be fair. If you want a dog to sleep through the night and not disturb you, and you want a dog to sleep during the day, not all day, but sleep while you're working, settle down while you're working and doing stuff, you've got to be fair about it. And so you've got to make sure that they've got enough exercise, that you've used their brain, they've had some training, that you've fed them a good diet that isn't full of sugar, and that you've got to be fair about it. And if you've done all of those things and you've given them attention and stuff during the day, then there's no reason why a dog wouldn't naturally just want to sleep. And it's absolutely vital that when your dog is sleeping, that he's left alone to do it, especially if you've got children, that they mustn't disturb the dog. So this is the time when a dog goes to sleep, and it's vitally important that don't disturb the dog when he is sleeping. I massively am against dog crates. Call them crates all you want. It's keeping a dog in a cage. So I don't even get me started on that. There is a whole video about it. So massively against dog crates. So if you're new to dog ownership, don't be putting your dog in the crate to go to sleep. I hear dog trainers saying it all the time, and it's not fair on the dog to put him in a cage. Put him away somewhere in his bed. I mean, these three, you see him all the time. They lie on the sofa, but that's just because it's just me here during the day. But if we had like little children running around, I would have a place where they could go away and sleep in their beds. And talking of beds, it's really important that they have somewhere to sleep that's really comfortable. And I've done a video about this, talking about not about the beds that I use, but also about how you can get a really good dog bed for free. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And I do spend a lot of money sometimes on my dog beds, but other times I've got really good dog beds for free. So I show you all about that, and I talk all about that. So I'll put two videos up at the end. I'll put the one about the dog beds to make sure you good quality dog beds, or make one for free or whatever, but really good quality dog beds. And I'll put the thing up about the howling in the sleep, because they're both really important to this. It's also really important that they don't sleep in a draft, especially if they're old. You don't want them sleeping in a draft. You don't want them too close to a radiator. Don't have them somewhere where the sun's scorching down on their bed. And remember, at night time, they need it to be dark, because they need the dark for the melatonin. Let me just check my notes. I've just got to keep checking my notes because there was quite a lot to this. If a dog doesn't get sleep, and this is very much the same as us, if a dog doesn't get to have a good night's sleep and good sleep during the day, it's exactly the same as it is for us. Their body can't repair. So the same with ours, when we're asleep, our cells are renewed, parts of our bones renewed, or brain, all of our body just is renewed and it's repaired. If we don't sleep, if they don't sleep, that can't happen, and so you're going to get ill, and you're going to get illness. Your immune system will be weak. Also anxious. If a dog, and the same with us, if we don't sleep, we get anxious, and so if a dog doesn't sleep, he's going to be more anxious. That makes him more ratty and more aggressive. So whenever anybody comes to me and asks me any questions about their dog, I always go straight to diet. So what are you feeding them? After that, I go straight to sleep. Always, like, are they getting sleep? Because if they're not getting sleep, they're going to be ratty, aggressive and anxious. And also, dogs that don't sleep have poor concentration. So sleep is so important. You know, like us, if you have a bad night's sleep, you feel rubbish. The same with them. So make sure that you're making sure they can get a good night's sleep at night, because you've exercised them and you've used their brain and you've given them a good diet and all of that. Make sure that they've had time to go out to the toilet in good time between their last meal and going to bed. And just make sure that during the day they're allowed to have their naps, because it's important. And then in between the naps, make sure that you're doing something with them so that they want to nap again. You've got to be fair about this. No dog that's just left all day is going to be okay. If you go to work all day and leave your dog on his own to do nothing all day, you can't then come home and expect to come home to a calm dog. Because I put the effort in with my dogs during the day, I have a lovely evening with them because they just relax in and they're nice. But like this morning, I got out, I've walked them for an hour. This afternoon after lunch, I spend another hour training with them. Various different things, like different kinds of stimulation going through in the day. And as a result, I get to have a nice relaxed evening with them. They sleep all night. I don't get disturbed by them. But because I put the work in. Some people come to me and say, oh, my dog's really irritating in the evenings. And then I find out that they left him in a cage all day by himself. Well, you shouldn't even, you shouldn't have a dog. If you're leaving a dog in a cage all day by himself, it's cruel. It's animal abuse. You shouldn't have a dog. Do yourself a favour. Please do the dog a favour and rehome him. Don't just rehome him anywhere. I've done a video. If you type in Furry and Spoilt how to rehome a dog, it will come up, and I go through the process to go through of owning a dog, of rehoming your dog. And there's no judgment. There's no judgment. We all make mistakes in life, but the best thing you can, if you made a mistake and your dog has ended up in a cage all day by himself, you made a massive mistake. No one's going to judge you if you say, like, I've made a massive mistake and I need to rehome him. That is the important thing to do. Being too ashamed to rehome him and keeping him in that cage all day is cruel. So go and have a look at that video. I think that's it, really. I think it is. Yep, I think that's everything. I thought it was quite interesting. So you know where I am. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. Everything that I use for my dogs, but only the stuff that I've used for years and that I really, really trust, I link in the description for, and I get them from Amazon, so it's nice and easy. But I do want to make that point. I only put stuff in there that I've been using for years. If I haven't been using it for years, it doesn't go in there. Like recently, I've just brought a load of new products because Albert's birthday's coming up, and so we're trying some new stuff. But you won't hear about that or see about that for months, because I need to try it and make sure that I'm happy with it. And if I am, then I might mention it. But if I'm not, you won't. But I will try that for months before I even tell you I bought it. So everything that's in the list, I 100% trust. And that's in the description. And obviously you can ask me anything you want to in the comment section. So I hope that you all have a lovely day. I hope that your dogs have a really, really good sleep. I hope you have a really good sleep. Sleep is incredibly important. I hope you're all sleeping very well. So that's us all. Fast asleep. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.